Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello, Namaste. Welcome to Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University at Chaitanya Studio. I am Dr. Asha Rani Anto, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Education, Kadi Sarva Vishwavidyalaya. And today we are going to have an exciting journey in the paper 103 of BSLW, that is Bachelor of Social Work, and the name of the paper is Communicative English. Today we are going to discuss one lot of things, but before that let us understand few things. So our knowledge partner is Knowledge Management and Research Organization, and the coordinator and reviewer is Dr. Neetu Sahni, and today I am going to deliver lecture and my name is Dr. Asha Rani Anto. So let us start our journey. This is the paper BSWR 103 Communicative English, and we are going to discuss Block 2 Types of Communication. Under that, we are going to discuss Unit 1 Verbal Communication. As the name suggests, verbal communication, so let us see what are the learning objectives. Each and every unit has its own learning objectives, so let us understand what we are going to have from this particular unit. So let us understand what is the verbal communication, understand the types of verbal communication, understand the advantages and disadvantages of verbal communication, and also understand ways to improve verbal communication. So these are the objectives that we are going to get from this particular unit of verbal communication. As you can see on this slide that two people are interacting. So verbal means oral interaction between two or more people. When we are saying verbal communication, lot of things are involved. Words, structure of language, your expressions, and the syntax, the morphology, everything is involved in the communication, especially of verbal communication. So when we are interacting with each other, two senses are involved the most. One is your oral speech and second is your listening capacity. Let us do a warm-up activity. Let us watch this video and understand what is there in the verbal communication. And this is very interesting video of Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean, most of the videos he talks less, but in this video he talks more and use all the adjectives to emphasize the beauty of the painting. Now, as you have watched that particular video clip, now you understood that how he has communicated with an array of people sitting before him. So it's everything that he speaks with his expressions, with his structure of sentences, with proper punctuations, and with proper systematic use of syntax. The way he communicates emphasizes the importance of the beauty of the painting, and everybody is impressed by his communication. So the way he expresses and the way he communicates, there are two mediums involved. One is the oral aspect and second is the listening aspects of the listener. Now here you can say that verbal communication, as I said, is between two or more people. It is divided into two forms. One is written form and other is oral form. Generally, when I am communicating with you right now is an oral form of communication that comes under the category of verbal communication. And written form we will discuss in the part. The first is introduction. When I say verbal communication, you can see that we need words, we need language so that we can communicate. There are certain aspects in which words and language is not used, that is non-verbal, we study in the later part, but here verbal means the use of words and language. Now, the basic thing is that we have to communicate something for information or the transmission of message, or to describe some abstract concept or something about the past events or information, or to express your thoughts. So in a day-to-day life, we can see that all the time, round the clock, we are communicating with our verbal aspects in order to describe something or to express something or to give information. We are using verbal communication more. Now, there are certain exciting things about the types of communication. Now, the basic forms of verbal communication are LSRW, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing. When I say speaking, it contributes 30% of verbal communication. But obvious, when you want to speak, when you want to interact, you need verbal communication. That means the oral transmission of words and language to express your thoughts. The second is listening. Obviously, when you are speaking, perhaps you are assuming somebody is listening to what you are saying, or your words are stressed to the ears of the speaker. And third, writing, which contributes 9%, and the last is reading, that is of 16%. So we have oral communication, that means it contributes the LSRW. We can see the highest strata goes to speaking because it is verbal communication. When I say written communication, it carries emails, it carries letters, it carries documentation, it carries notices, advertisement. These are all written communication. Now let us understand the oral communication. Now, oral communication but natural refers to communication through speech, right? So the entire structure of our face is involved in the speech, right from our mouth organs to our vocal cords, and to the tongue. Everything that is there in our face, as in the cavities and in the oral aspects, everything is involved to have a direct speech. Now, there is an interesting fact, let me tell you, that executives, those who are working in multinational companies, they spend 30% of their time in speaking. So, 30% of their time, that means the entire time in that they are spending 30%. So, what they are doing? They are giving instructions, they are conducting interviews, they are having business talks, then for attending the meeting, making speeches, making alarm of everything. So, all these things carries a one line, that is the oral communication. So, most of the executives, we can take the example of teachers, they are also contributing more to oral communication. So, all these communication goes in a way of speech, and that's why 30% we are speaking. Now, you can't imagine, without oral communication, we cannot proceed to our day-to-day life. Right from the morning till the time we go to bed, we are communicating. We are doing oral communication. Now, to say oral communication means in which words, language, thoughts, all are transmitted either to send a message or to emphasize the meaning of the message. Now, each and every communication has its advantage and disadvantage. So, first of all, we can say about the advantage of oral communication. In this slide, you can see the first image is of a alarm clock. As soon as we can see this clock, that means it saves time. It saves time. That means oral communication can be more clear. There is more clarity in oral speech. We can understand very nicely what the person is saying. Okay, so it saves time. Second, it saves money. It's but obvious that if you are speaking, then less paperwork, more emphasis on your oral transmission of speech. So it saves time, it saves money. Then it is very effective tool for persuasion and control. If you want to persuade something, if you want to like we can see in advertisements also, people persuade the other customers through their oral speech, okay, through their way of communicating with the oral speech. And control, no doubt, when you have, as a teacher, when you have to control the class, you need oral command very nicely. Okay. Then immediate feedback. The moment you give any speech, or if you give some presentation, the audience or the students or the persons who are looking at you can give you immediate feedback about what you have said and how they felt. Now, it always increases the efficiency of communication. The more you interact, the more you will receive the information, and this information can clubbed into oral communication. It is flexible. Yes, you can go on narrating, or you can cut short the things, or you can go on elaborating the things in a very descriptive way. So it is flexible. It can be suitable for the time. It can be suitable how to do it in a very narrow down process. So it is a flexible thing. It is suitable for group communication. Likewise, if I am taking the lecture, I am communicating with you all. Perhaps you are not there, but when you will see this, you will understand, yes, I can communicate with the group of people. So oral communication can govern most of the transmission of message in oral form. Like the politician do the group communication, teachers do group communication. So whoever are in this field, they have to do a group communication. Even the dining table talk also is a group communication. Or if you are going with your friends and having communication, verbal communication, oral communication, that too is a group communication. It promotes goodwill. As you can see that the way you talk, the way you interact always carries a goodwill of your institution or as a person yourself. So if you have visited any hospitality industry, you can find that the people are very polite, very humble, and they talk so well that we feel that this particular institution or this particular hospitality industry has carved a niche about themselves. So that promotes goodwill. So the way you talk, the way you have the oral communication always carry a goodwill. Now, as I said earlier, that each and every communication has its own advantage and disadvantage. So let us focus on disadvantage. Sometimes it happens that it consumes more time and money. Sometimes it happens that we are listening to certain lectures and the lecture is going on, and there are other speakers to speak, but it's something that is not time bounded. So sometimes it takes more time, and sometimes it takes more money also. Some in cases wherein you have to organize a function, and because of the time, because time is paid, because of the time consuming, you have to pay more. So certain times, certain situations, it consumes more time and money, but it is happens only sometimes, not every time. Oral messages cannot be retained for a long time, because as a human being we have the habit of forgetting the things. So if we have communicated with someone, or we have received a oral message from someone, sometimes we forget the things and we are not able to retain what the person has said, right? So oral messages at times cannot be retained. Next, very important disadvantage is that it has no legal validity. If I said, like, I have said this, and after some time I say I have not said this, you cannot take any kind of action on that, because it is something that is produced orally and it has no proof. So it cannot be produced as a legal, we can say a legal proof or a validity. Then it has a greater chance of misunderstanding. This happens every now and then, that in our routine life, mundane life, we have seen that there are a lot of problems come across when we have this oral communication, and people misunderstand what we have said and they take it in another way. So there are chances that your communication, oral communication, may be misunderstood. Now, no easy way to fix responsibility for mistake. Everybody can wash their hands from this and say that I have not told like that, or I have not spoken like that. So this nobody takes the blame, or nobody takes the authority that yes, I did it, or I have spoken like that. Everybody reduces the responsibility for those things. So yes, there is no easy way to fix responsibility for mistakes, especially in oral communication. No, and the last important thing, that you cannot refer any oral messages to the future prospects. That means I have said this or I have said that, and you cannot propound it in the future prospects, right? So it cannot be referred to the future prospects. So these are the disadvantage of oral communication. Now let us talk to the next verbal communication, that is the written communication. Now the written communication, obviously it is an idea that penetrates and we make it into the form of written message, which needs words, which needs language, and it needs a proper channel. Maybe email, maybe notice, maybe advertisement, maybe formal letter, maybe informal letter. So all these things, nowadays we have social media, so we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. So all these are the written way of communication, right? Similarly, as I said that there are disadvantage and advantage. So let us focus on the advantage of written communication. When I say written communication, as I told you, that it needs a proper channel, okay, proper channel of transmission of message, because it is in written form. One of the very important advantage is that it is very accurate and precise. If you read the written messages, you will feel that it is very precise and it is to the point and it is very specific at times. And written messages always create a permanent record. You can refer those records every now and then. So it is a matter that you can keep on the records. You can refer those records for your purpose, or for information purpose, for any other purpose. So it maintains the record. It creates legal advice because it is written, so you can produce it anywhere for legal evidences. So yes, written communications are very useful when it comes to permanent recording or for any legal evidence. It is very good. Then it has a wide access. As you can see nowadays, you can go on search engine and you can see a lot of books, lot of information. They are all in the written and the print messages. So you can make it out what the concerned person or what the particular book wants to say. So you have a wide access of all those things. And it also promotes the goodwill of the organization. Like you can see that the moment you enter any of the organization, they have the vision, mission, or the logo or the motto of those things written in a very specific, accurate and precise way. So we can make it out that what they want to say. And very good thing is that it helps to fix responsibility. Once you have jot down all the written commands, like who is taking what kind of responsibility, then you write it down and communicate with all the people in your firm or in your place. Then it becomes very helpful, because nobody can shrink away from the responsibilities as it can help to fix the responsibilities. So these are the advantage of written communication. Which are they? It is accurate and precise. It creates a permanent record. It creates a legal evidence. It has wide access, and it always promotes the goodwill of the organization. And last not the least, it helps to fix the responsibilities. That is very, very important. Now, as I said, there are disadvantages. It is expensive. At times, when you take the printouts or when you circulate it, obviously it needs money to do all these things. So sometimes it becomes very, very expensive. It is time consuming. For an example, if you have authorized certain people to do the work and expect them to do in a written form, it takes time. And because it is time consuming, sometimes the things keep on lingering. It is inflexible because the matters that you have already written, it need to be recorrected and then to be amended. So it becomes sometimes inflexible. And the most important thing, that you can't get immediate feedback. You have written something and you expect that the people give you feedback. Nowadays it can happen because of the digital media, but most probably if you expect the people to give you immediate feedback, it doesn't happen. Okay, so it always becomes an hurdle to understand how good you are at those points or at those presentation of things in a written form. Then, as I told you, it creates huge paperwork and files. That means if you visit any kind of a place, official place, if they are specifying on the written communication, you can see the pile of papers, files, and everything. Sometimes the piles and paper are rotten up, and it becomes very difficult to find out the records. Nowadays, it is possible because of digitalization, but then it is time consuming, and it is sometimes is very expensive. So these are the disadvantages of written communication. Which are they? It is expensive, it is time consuming, it is inflexible, and most important, no immediate feedback is you can't expect a immediate feedback, and it creates a huge paperwork and file maintaining all those things, so it is time consuming. Now, when I say communication, we have seen oral communication and written communication. In this, listening and reading are paramount important. Communication is done with the help of listening and reading. So the first thing that we have to remember is that always be prepared to listen to the speakers. You should not be judgmental in that, okay, what this person is saying. Instead, you should have an ear to what the particular person is saying. So be prepared to listen the things. That means you should be a good listener. Keep an open mind. Free yourself from all the prejudices, and then have an open mind. Understand what the person is saying, and then you have a logical analysis of those things. Focus on the main message of the speaker. It happens that we get disturbed, and sometimes we make a assumption that this particular speaker is not going to deliver a good speech or a presentation, so we make our own mood swings. But the thing is that you need to be very focused on the main message, because that's what how you can become and take the things very properly. Try to avoid distraction if possible. When you are listening something or when you are communicating something, always avoid distraction. We have to keep this thing in our mind that nowadays we have to make a signal that we shouldn't use mobile while in the classrooms or in the teaching learning process or any other very confidential processes where communication is there, and we have to say this thing that keep your mobile in silent, because it always progresses into distraction, right? So always try to avoid distractions if possible. When you are communicating, then the important thing is that be objective. That means what is your object, or it should be very short, and it should be understandable, or don't use jargonized word to make them difficult to understand. So be objective. Do not be stuck on any points mentioned by the speaker, and be distracted. Like, you have said this, so I am doing this, your points were not clear, so don't enhance yourself in those points that has been bracketed by the speaker. Instead, you need to focus on the development of what can be done on those points that has been discussed by the speaker. Do not think of your next question. It happens that we listen less and ask more. So in this form, we always ask questions. And because we ask the questions, we can't understand the link or either the cohesion between what the speaker says and what we have understood. And never ever stereotype the speaker. We think that this person, from his personality and the way he comes, we make it in our assumption that okay, this person is like this, he's not going to give us good deliverance. So never ever stereotype the speaker. So what are the things that we have to keep in mind is that always prepare to listen, keep an open mind, focus on the main message of the speaker, and very important, try to avoid distraction, especially your mobile. Then be objective when you speak, and do not stuck into the points mentioned by the speaker or get distracted from those things. And do not think of your next question, and listen it properly and then think about it, and never ever stereotype the speaker. Hope you understood that how the communication can be a useful channel. It's a useful channel with proper listening and reading. Now let us check what we have learned. Okay, so first is communication by the use is called dash. So what is verbal communication? As I told you, it carries words and language. So the right option is the words. Second, oral communication is communication through how we communicate with speech, right? So speech is the right answer. Oral communication gives feedback. What kind of feedback it gives? Immediate feedback, right? Then communication can be used as legal evidence. So which communication can be used as a legal evidence? Written communication. Okay, written communication includes what it includes? It includes everything: emails, letters, notes, all of the above. Now oral communication is, yes, time saving, it's flexible, suitable for group communication. That means all the options are correct, all of the above. Last not the least, prompt and efficient written communication with various parties concerned with the business promotes the organization. Which will be the right? Laziness? No. Advertisement? No. Goodwill? Yes. If you have very efficient written communication, the other parties concerned will promote the organization because of the goodwill. So the right answer is goodwill. So I hope you have understood what is verbal communication, the types of verbal communication, oral and written. Keep learning and keep attending the lectures, video lectures. Thank you for listening.